Hey people, welcome back to another episode of OpenCV using Python. In this video, we'll be doing image and video manipulations. Let us quickly open a new file. Let's get started. Obviously, we first import the CV2 library, and then in this, we use NumPy. NumPy is another Python library which is used for array operations. I'll explain NumPy in another video, but basically NumPy is for array operations. Just remember that. Now let's initialize a variable cap and let's pass the value cv2.videoCapture. What this does is it returns the video to the variable and will pass the name of the video inside the arguments of video capture. In our case, it's sample.mp4. Now we initialize a y2. I'll explain why we use this later. Now we write return comma frame that is equal to cap.read. Okay. So what this does is it returns every frame one by one. We know that video is a combination of photos, right? When a set of photos are played at some speed, it looks like a video, right? So that's what this does. It returns each frame and we use the while loop to show that images at some speed. And when we do that, it'll look like a video. And dot read is the function that we use to get the video. Now let's show these frames one by one. For that we use cv2.imshow, and then in the first argument we need to pass name of the application that we'll be using in single quotes and the variable that has those frames, which is frame in this case. And by the name of application I meant the window that will be displaying the video in. Now we'll add a wait key to come out of the loop whenever we want to, and we know what wait key is. I've explained that in the last video. In this, there's a bit more advanced type of declaring wait key. What we do is we give an ordinance value to the wait key. So what the ordinance value does is it returns the ASCII value of the alphabet that we are typing. Whenever we enter the button Q, it breaks the loop and then the application is closed. Now we type cap.release and destroy all windows. Cap.release is used to release the control over camera that we have right now, because if we're not using the camera, then other applications should be allowed to use the camera. Now let's run the program and see what it is. You can see that the video is kind of lagging because we're accessing the video frame by frame and we're playing it frame by frame. And that's what the wait key is used for. Now we change the wait keys time to 10 milliseconds and see what it is. Now you can clearly notice the change, that the frames are playing after some time and the video is not that clear. Now let's again change it to 100 and see what happens. Now the video is completely not clear and you can notice that the frames are playing after quite large amount of time. So yeah, that's what basically the wait key is used for. I've explained it in the last video, I've explained it now too. I hope that's clear. Now instead of using a video file, let's try and access the webcam. For that we'll have to change the arguments of video capture to 0 and then it automatically accesses the webcam. Let's run the program again. Yeah, now you can see me. And I know that the video is totally not in sync because I've recorded the video before and I've recorded the audio later. So yeah, kindly bear with it. And I'm closing the application now. Alright, now that we've learned how to access the video and display it, let's try and manipulate the video now. You can use the same techniques for manipulating images too. Now let's use cap.get of 3 to get the width property of the video, and cap.get of 4 is used to get the height property. We add int function because we get the values in float as default and we have to convert them into int. Alright, now let's make a black application window on which we'll be displaying our manipulated images or videos. Let's type in image is equal to np.zeros of frame.shape, comma np.uint8. Now I'll explain what this is. Frame.shape is used to return the values of height, width, and the number of channels. So shape is basically an array of values. We access them one by one. The first value has the height property, the second one has the width property, and the third one has the number of channels property. Number of channels are basically your color values, RGB, gray, or RGBA. You know there are certain kinds of values that exist, right? Okay. Now that's it. We can use the shape property to get the height and width in the first case itself, but I took it from the get property. Anything is fine. I'll write a quick comment for you people. Okay, so this line basically creates a black window with the same height and width properties of the original video. So basically we are assigning properties of frame to image using frame.shape. I've explained what .shape does. We're using NP because an image is composition of thousands of pixels and each pixel has its own RGB value. In OpenCV we use BGR instead of RGB. So it's just a collection of BGR values stored as elements in an array. And by numpy function we access each array element and then we make them zero. And np.uint8 stands for unassigned integers 8 bits, and np.zeros is assigning 0 integer in the array field for every bgr values that are stored as an array. Now let's run the program and see what we get. We have to change the variable's name to image here because we've done the manipulations to it. And you can see a clear black screen that we got. Okay, this is the window that we'll be using for posting the manipulated videos. Okay, now let's create a smaller frame. I'll explain why we're doing this later. For now, let's see how we're doing it. So smaller frame is equal to cv2.resize. I've explained what resize does before. And we pass the frame argument in the first place and the dimensions and the ratio. I want it to be half of the height and half of the width of the actual frame. Okay, let me open Paint and demonstrate what I want to do. So basically, I want to post 4 such smaller frames which will be playing videos of mine which are accessed by the webcam at these positions 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the videos are being played constantly, which shouldn't be a tough job. Okay, let's do it. Alright, now let's write the code which is image of height slash slash 2 comma width double slash 2. This is used to determine the position of the smaller frame on the black screen that we just made. We pass the value smaller frame that we just created, which has the video in crop dimensions. I will make 4 such copies of it and paste them next to this. Now we change the position for each of them. The columns are used to determine the position. So height double slash 2 and width double slash 2 determines the initial position from which the video will be positioned. Columns are used to place them at their respective places. You'll get the idea once you look at the code. Okay, now that we've created a smaller frame and positioned them, let's run the program and see what we get. Now you see four me's in on a single back frame. And again, the audio is totally not in sync with the video. Excuse me for that. Now let's change the VT and see what it is. Yeah, of course it slows down the video. Now it's kind of normal. I know this video is kind of lengthy, but trust me, it's totally worth it. Once you're clear with the basics, everything is easy from there. Let's add some rotate operations to this. So in the rotate operations, the first argument is obviously the frame, which is the source image, and then we do the cv2.cv2, and then we rotate it to 90 degrees. And by the way, this is not possible because the width and height dimensions will not match with the smaller frames. So it will go out of the frame and it will display an error. So it's only possible with 180 because it will have the same height and width dimensions. Now let's run the program. Okay, there is an inverted video of mine on the top left corner. That is because we've rotated the video using the rotate function. Now let's put the rotate function to another video. I'll copy this and paste it here. Running the program again. We're getting the similar output in which two videos of mine are rotated on the top. Okay. Now I've said that we can use the shape property to get the height and width value in the first place, right? Let's try getting them now so you'll be clear with what dot shape does. Now we're accessing the first element of shape array, which has the width property, and then the second element which has the height property. I guess I've said the opposite ones earlier. Now let's run the program. We're getting the same output without any difference. So yeah, dot shape returns the height and width property. That's it for this video. Meet you in the next one. Take care.